Hey guys, welcome back to Fantasy Tipped. My name is Julian, and in today's episode, we're going to be continuing our series of episodes talking about each individual NHL team, talking about their players, and how I think they're going to do in fantasy this year. Today's episode, obviously, about the Carolina Hurricanes. Before we get started though, guys, please leave a like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Really appreciate it, guys, because I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers this year, so your support really would mean the world to me. All right, so let's jump right into what I project Carolina's lines to look like this year. On the top line, I have Svechnikov, Aho, and Teravainen, a reunited trio that performed so well 2 seasons ago. Unfortunately, Teravainen had so many injuries last year, but I do see them coming back together this year and doing really, really well. Second line, I got Niederreiter, Trocheck, and Martin Necas. Was a really good trio last year. I don't see that changing. On the third line, I have Kotkaniemi, Jordan Staal, and Jesperi Kotkaniemi. On defense, I have Slavin, Pesce, Shea, DeAngelo, Cole, and Bear. And nets, we got Frederik Andersen and Antti Raanta. All right, so just like in the Calgary video, guys, these rankings that you see are actually from Yahoo's expert rankings themselves. So yeah, you can go on the app and you can see that they finally released their rankings and their draft order. You guys can finally do some mock drafts. So first on their list in terms of Carolina Hurricanes is Sebastian Aho, ranked 17. He had 57 points in 56 games last year, and the dude's an absolute stud. He's my favorite player in the NHL right now, and he's very safe pick. Guys, he shoots a lot. His plus minus will be good playing on a good team. And his shooting percentage was a little bit high last year, but he's a very good player, so that wouldn't worry me at all. He's definitely a guy that can keep up a point per game pace, no problem, especially playing with the good line mates that he will be playing with. Next is Andrei Svechnikov, ranked 25, a little bit lower than Aho, and for a good reason. He had significantly less points than Aho did last year, but if you're in a bangers league, Svechnikov is a great pick because the guy actually hits a lot too, and for other leagues as well, he shoots, and he'll be pretty good all around. I do think he'll be better than a 42 points in 55 games pace this year, especially given that he's going to probably play the whole season with Aho and Teravainen. I do think he's going to bounce back a little bit. Next is Frederik Andersen, ranked 41 overall. And this ranking I absolutely hate. He is ranked the number 6 goalie. What the hell? It doesn't make any sense. He had a really bad year last year. He was below 900 save percentage, and that was with the Toronto Maple Leafs, who don't really have a bad team. Yeah, he had some injury issues last year, but who knows if he's going to be the same goalie that he was a couple seasons ago. It's a really risky pick to pick him 6 overall. And when you're picking a goalie that high, it's usually because the backup is pretty much non-existent. But Antti Raanta is actually a really, really good backup. And if you picking a goalie really late in the draft and you need to pick one like really, really late, Antti Raanta might actually be a decent pick because he is a really good goalie. And if he can stay healthy and Andersen starts playing badly, Raanta could easily become the starter in Carolina. So no, don't draft Frederik Andersen. Way too risky for me that early in the draft. Next on the list are 3 guys that I think are really good draft picks. Martin Necas at 90, Trocheck at 129, and Teravainen at 137. Starting with Necas, he had 41 points in 53 games. It was a really breakout season for him last year. He had a really great plus minus, and his shooting percentage might look high to you at 12.3, but over his career, his short career given, but he was a 14.9 over his career. So his shooting percentage last year, you could actually even say was a little bit low. So Necas, I really like at 90, although I like Trocheck just as much at 129. He pretty much was at a point per game pace last year, and if he continues getting that top power play time, which I think that he will be, he should be able to get pretty much that same point per game pace that he was on last year. The next one was Teravainen, ranked 137. He is my must draft of the video because if he can get that top line time with Aho and Svechnikov and possibly even get that top power play time with those guys, Teravainen is going to have an insane season. We've seen in the past that he's a point per game guy with those players. And the fact he's going at 137 makes him an absolute steal. So I'll definitely be drafting Teravainen. You guys should too if you're able to get him this late in the draft. Next is Jordan Staal, ranked at 191, and he had a really good season last year. I don't know where the hell that came from, but he's always been a guy who's performed lower than his expected results, and last year he finally did it, right? He had a pretty high shooting percentage, His career is about 11.4, so it's not like crazy above what it usually is, but it definitely was above. And I don't necessarily see him replicating his results. Last year, he had a lot of top power play time due to some injuries in Carolina. So if he gets the top power play time again this year, he might be able to replicate it, but I wouldn't necessarily bank on him getting that top power play time, right? It's kind of a riskier pick, but I don't absolutely hate it. I just don't love it either. Next is Tony DeAngelo, ranked at 212, and at this rank, Tony DeAngelo could pay off like crazy, right? The thing is, it's Tony DeAngelo. You don't know what the hell he's going to do. You don't know if he's going to make enemies right away and get kicked off the team. So it's definitely a risky pick, but if he pans out, DeAngelo could be an absolute steal at this rank. It's just a matter of if you're willing to go so risky with him, right? Because he could easily be kicked off the team and not play for the rest of the year, kind of like he was last year. Next is Jaccob Slavin, ranked at 254, and last year he had a very pitiful offensive season with only 15 points in 52 games, but the reason for that is because he didn't really see any power play time at all last year, and he had a good amount of blocks. So if you're in a categories leagues and you're desperate for blocks, he's someone you can pick up, but definitely not someone I would draft. I don't see him really getting any power play time this year either, so his value is pretty limited. Next is Nino Niederreiter at ranked 260, and he's an average player. If you want a safe pick at 260, Niederreiter is definitely one. He should be playing with Trocheck and Necas, so he's not going to do badly. He shoots the puck a lot too, so if you want a safe pick really late in your draft, Niederreiter is that. Next is Brett Pesce at 517, and obviously he's not going to go that late, right? He's someone who's probably going to get second power play time for Carolina like he did last year. He's going to be about a point every 2 games like he was last year, and he's going to block a decent amount of shots. So if that's what you need late in the draft, not the worst pick in the world. Definitely not the best, though. Next is Jesperi Kotkaniemi, ranked at 553, and I don't really know where he's going to slot in the Carolina lineup because they've already got 3 centermen with Staal, Trocheck, and Aho. So he's probably going to turn to the wing unless they put Trocheck on the wing or whatever. I'm not really sure. But I don't think Kotkaniemi is going to be worth his $6.1 million contract. That's absolutely insane to me. And I think he'll have an okay season, but Carolina's roster is really full already with a lot of talent. So I don't necessarily see him doing that well. I wouldn't draft him, but if you see that they're playing him on the top couple lines early on in the season and he's actually playing well, he's someone that I would scoop up and scoop up quickly. Next is Ethan Bear, ranked at 723. Obviously, this ranking is not super accurate because I think he could be a real steal. This is the reason why. If DeAngelo goes and gets himself kicked off the team because he's a hothead and an idiot again, I think Ethan Bear is the first guy that gets the shot on Carolina's top power play. Why? Well, I don't necessarily see Slavin or Pesce being a top power play guy, right? And they traded away Jake Bean, so who's left? Ethan Bear. Ethan Bear could potentially have a really good season if this does happen. I wouldn't necessarily bank on it, so if you're going to throw your last pick at the draft to someone and you want to be someone really risky, Ethan Bear isn't the worst pick in the world, although I'd likely just not draft him. And if you see DeAngelo messing around again, I'd pick up Bear really quickly. That's it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching all the way through. I really appreciate it. Please leave a like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Really appreciate it, guys. Until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll catch you in the next episode of Fantasy Tipped.